Listen, this deal I had a couple of months ago almost completely fell apart, and it had nothing to do with credit, income, or even the house itself. It came down to one thing, and that is being untruthful about a gap in employment. My clients were just days away from closing, and they almost lost the home, you guys. But luckily, their lender was able to save the deal by throwing a one last Hail Mary. And today I'm breaking down exactly what happened and how you can avoid this mistake when buying a home. My name is Sherilyn Williams, a realtor in Chicago, and I thank you for tuning in today. If you need help in the Chicagoland area with your real estate needs, my information is in the description. All right, so here's what happened. My clients found a home that they loved. It was exactly what they were looking for and in the neighborhood and school district that they wanted to be in for their kids. Not to mention, the kids loved the home because it had a swimming pool, it had a really cool basement that was perfect for a game room. So we got them under contract, and for the first 25 to 30 days, everything was moving along smoothly. Inspection was done, appraisal was good, and the loan was moving forward. Then we get closer to underwriting, and that's when things started to unravel. The lender started reviewing in their employment history more closely, which is something they always do before final approval. And the lender noticed a gap in employment that they didn't see before. That's why I always tell people, just because you were approved earlier and you got a pre-approval letter in hand doesn't mean there's a guarantee that your loan will still go through, because things can change in your financial situation, or if the lender misses something but sees it later, your loan cannot go through. So you could be asking now, well, shouldn't the lender have caught this in the beginning? And most times I would agree that they should. And most good lenders should be able to spot red flags in the beginning. But things happen, and if something changes or if you try to hide something and not disclose it, then it could become a major problem. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, in this situation with these clients, I was not happy with the lender at all, to say the least, because he should have spotted this employment issue before giving them a pre-approval, in my opinion. And I had worked with this lender a lot of other times as many of my other clients. And it was just like the last couple of deals we did together, we almost lost them because of something he missed. And I don't know if he was going through something in his life or what, but the gap in employment for my clients was clearly not disclosed up front to him. And in mortgage lending, consistency and documentation are everything. So when something doesn't line up with the underwriter, it definitely raises a red flag immediately. And you got to think like how a bank thinks. Do you think a bank will want to give you a loan if your income is not stable? Of course not. Or if there's an undisclosed risk? Of course not. They're like, can we even approve this loan? Because just in the blink of an eye, a deal can be in jeopardy. You see, a lot of buyers don't realize that when you're applying for a mortgage, lenders are not just checking your credit score. I know it's very important, but they're also verifying your income stability, your employment history, which is typically 2 years, and your ability to repay the loan. So when there's a gap, even if it seems like the smallest gap, it needs to be explained and documented. And here's where people really make the mistake. They think, oh, it's not a big deal. I'll just leave the employment gap out. It was just for maybe 2 months, whatever, no big deal. But trust me, lenders will find out, because your lender will verify employment through your pay stubs, your W-2s, verification of employment, or VOEs, especially for VA buyers, and sometimes even direct employer contact. So if something doesn't match up, it can delay your loan or completely deny it. And in this situation, we were getting very close to losing the deal. So back to our situation. If our deal didn't go through, some of the things that could have happened are that the seller could have canceled the contract, the sellers could have kept my buyer's earnest money, or they could have possibly moved on to another buyer. And my clients could have lost the home completely, all because the gap of employment could have been addressed up front. Now, thankfully, the lender stepped in and worked hard to save the deal. And my clients had to write a letter of explanation for the employment gap, and the lender was able to rework the file to make it make sense from the underwriting standpoint. And because everything else was strong, the deal was able to move forward. But let me be clear, This doesn't always happen like this because not every deal can be saved once issues come up late in the process. So the lesson for your buyers, if you're thinking about buying a home, here are the key takeaways. Be 100% honest with your lender. Even if you think something is so small and it doesn't matter, please be honest. Also disclose employment gaps up front because oftentimes they can be explained. Like I said earlier, don't assume a pre-approval is equal to a final approval. Things can change in underwriting. And the last thing is to work with a strong lender and agent because when problems come up, and trust me, they will, you need a team that knows how to solve them. So if you're planning on buying a home and want to avoid situations like this, make sure you're working with the right people from the start. And if you have questions about a home buying situation you're going through, drop them in the comments or reach out to me directly. And if this helped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's thinking about buying a home because this one mistake could cost you. Thank you for watching.